Hey you, it's me. And as we know, Amber and Foodie, Chantal, I think food immediately when I think of her because that's the majority of her content. Amber, at least, you know, talks a lot as well as eats. Anyway, we know that they probably would not be thriving as much as they are, even though they've gone a lot lower than they used to be with views. They would not be thriving without reaction channels. Reaction channels and they feed off of each other and help each other content-wise to make sure that they're still going. And I know that a lot of people regard the reaction channels in high regard, much higher regard than the, pee on Amber and pee on Chantal. But a lot of the reaction channels aren't much better. So I'm just going to go over a few of them and my opinions of them. I am reacting to the reaction channels. And I'm not including all of them. I'm just including the ones that I've been observing more recently. The first one is Karina Kaboom. She's straightforward, she's honest, and she doesn't attack people for what they eat or what they look like. And I really appreciate her. I would say that she's probably number one in my book. Also, Alex is Shook. I think he is fun, and I like listening to his reactions, and he's not shy about giving a dig or two, but I don't find him to be mean-spirited. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's just what I get from him. I don't watch him all the time. I haven't seen every video he's done, but when I watch him, I enjoy him, and he seems to be more focused on facts and behaviors than he is on what a person looks like. So just saying, or what they put in their mouth. Just saying. You can't say that about YouTube Underground. YouTube Underground, I used to find her entertaining. Now I find her a little bit tiring because everything she does is about how fat Chantal is, how gross Chantal is, and how much food she's shoving in her face, and what food she's shoving in her face. And she can put out some fun content sometimes. I think she can be funny, but she just gets annoying after a while. Even this morning, I thought I'd tune in and see what's going on with her today, and she's talking about how much yogurt Chantal is putting on her fajita. I mean, or whatever it was. I think it was fajita. Anyway, who cares? You know, I've used yogurt instead of sour cream because it's a lot healthier for you. And whether it's sour cream or yogurt, I slather that stuff on. I love it. So I like it. I like the creaminess of it, and I think it adds an interesting flavor for me, I use it for tacos, but whatever. I could use it for a burrito. I don't eat fajitas, but if I did, I could use it for that. Whatever you wrap up. And I just thought it was kind of absurd to poke fun at how much yogurt she's eating, and how big her bites are and all that. I worry more about Chantal choking, honestly. But she just nitpicks. She does a lot like what FFG does, French Fry Girl. She nitpicks on things just over and over again. And, I can't believe she's eating that. That's disgusting. People have different tastes. I hate to support Chantal on this, but I think Chantal is right. They're really nitpicky and kind of silly about their content, And I think that's what I found interesting about them originally, is that they're just picking on silly things, but they just go and go and go to the point where it gets a little tiresome, you know? I I I think YouTube Underground, I think she's Yaba. She can be entertaining, but she just has nothing else, you know? Broaden the horizons. I don't know. That's just what I get from her. And then her fiance, girlfriend, Sam Tefler. She just gets a lot of things wrong, and she has a very like superiority complex. I think, I don't know. I just find her off-putting. Maybe you do too. I don't know. Let me know. Tell me in the comments what you think. You can tell me you hate my thoughts, or you love my thoughts, or you agree butts, whatever. It doesn't matter. Tell me what you think. But yeah, I just think she gets too much wrong, and she won't admit that she's wrong, or she does, but she's, I don't know, she's very off-put by it. I remember one stream I listened to her, and somebody corrected her with something she was saying about Amber, which she got completely wrong. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I don't know. I don't watch her every day. And I'm like, well, don't get defensive. They were just making sure you were saying things correctly. Like, oh, it's this, not this. And you say, oh, okay, thanks. I didn't know that. Great. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm, giving it to you straight. She didn't do that. She got really defensive. And that's why I stopped listening to her, because I thought that was silly. It's just not in a good way. So then we're going now to Mr. Snowflake. Mr. Snowflake, I don't hate him. I think he's very thorough. But to be honest with you, I don't watch him a lot. I never watched any of the algorithms with Amberlynn. I wasn't very interested. I watched pieces and parts of some of the times, like with Destiny or with Crystal, that I wasn't there for. But the rest of it, I was there. I watched it, So I didn't really care. I did care about the Casey thing. I thought Mr. Snowflake was really good with that interview and allowed Casey to tell his side of things, and I appreciated that. I really did. His interactions with Chantal, I don't know. I just think that song just got me. It just seemed very on the attack and unnecessary. I mean, does she embellish a lot? Yes. Does she outright lie? Yes. She's admitted to that, just like Amber has. But I watched his other channel, Under the Hood, for a little bit, but his content just isn't something that I'm much interested in. There's something about him, and I don't know what it is. I appreciate his sarcastic humor, but I just don't watch him that much. I really don't. And I think it's interesting that other YouTubers seem to be afraid of him. I'm very small. I'm minute, so I don't think he's going to ever come after me or do something about me, because what is there to do? But I think other YouTubers might be a little afraid of him about what he might do, and maybe they're stepping a little more carefully. I don't know. But that's what I see when they talk about him, like, oh, don't mess with Mr. Snowflake. He'll get you. And I don't know, maybe he does, but I haven't seen him do anything differently than other reaction channels and other YouTubers have done. So, but he is thorough. I appreciate that. He seems to look at everything that he can, and that's he's good at what he does. I'll give him that. It's just not necessarily what I want to watch all the time. And then we go to Angry Pistachio. Angry Pistachio, I think she's a character. She is fun. She's silly. She might talk a little too much about vaginas and vagina health, which it's a little off-putting for me, to be honest with you. It's not my thing. She's, I don't know, you could say maybe she's a little gruff, a little rough. I appreciate her, and I think sometimes she can be extremely insightful, which I like. But also, and I don't know if this is being willfully ignorant or if maybe she's just not paying attention. I think it might be the latter, that maybe she doesn't always pay attention, but she will harp on things, specifically like a phrase that someone says without going into more detail into the context. But what I do like about her is that she will correct herself if she gets something wrong. And she also listens to the chat. She reads the chat a lot, more frequently than most, and responds to them. And I appreciate that about her. And she can be very entertaining and insightful, like I said. So that's her. And I did appreciate a recent stream she did with somebody called Hater Tater. I think that's the right Hater Tater. Yeah, that's what I wrote down. Anyway, they went through the vet report that FFG showed on screen, which I thought was really interesting, because I don't know if Hater Tater, I don't know anything about them, to be honest, but she did translate the French into English, and apparently some of the things that French Fry Girl said were embellished. We'll say that. I don't like to say outright lies, but there were one or two things that seemed to be outright lies, but we'll just say that she embellished a little bit, which I thought was kind of interesting, because I've always thought of FFG as a straight shooter. More recently, I haven't really watched much of her videos or her live streams, because I just think she can be really mean and cruel, and I shy away from that. Like, there is so much you can take before it just gets to be too much, and I feel like sometimes she's a little too much for me, and that's okay. She can be, she might be your thing. She's not necessarily my thing. I used to really like her, now I'm kind of but seeing how she embellished on that report, because I don't speak French, I don't know French, makes me give her the side eye a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Is she proven to be a liar or a grifter, which a lot of people say, surprisingly, including Omegon? I was surprised to hear that. But I can start to see maybe where they're coming from, but I'm not saying that she is. I'm saying I could see their point of view. So there's that. Also, Angry Pistachio often has Gaining Ground in her streams, and I like Gaining Ground, but again with him, I don't know if it's willful ignorance, but he seems to like pick on part of a phrase and not take things out of context sometimes. Not all the time. I actually think he's not a bad YouTuber, but when he goes on tangents about things, when he gets them wrong, it's frustrating, I guess. That's the way I would say. I haven't really interacted with him with his chat, because I usually catch him after his streams are over, so I watch the replay. And he seems to engage with people quite a bit, which I appreciate. But yeah, he tends to sometimes read the room wrong, I guess you can say. And I find that frustrating. But overall, I still think he's entertaining. Although he too and Angry Pistachio can get a little mean with their comments, making fun of the way people look. If you want to make fun of the way people act, when they're acting badly, I totally get that. But it seems in the community that it's okay to attack someone physically if they do it first, or it's okay to attack them physically if they're bad people. And I disagree with that because they are still people. You know, Amber is still a person. Chantal is still a person. And I would never want to attack them for the way that they look or what they eat. Although I show concern sometimes because Chantal, you know, her, when she sits down and eats in front of the camera, she's eating a considerable amount of food, and with her health issues, it's concerning. You know, absolutely that. It's not about what she eats, it's the fact that she's eating so much, and with her health issues, that's just going to make it worse. But she says, you know, I'm going to eat what I'm going to eat. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. It's my life. And she's right. She's not wrong about that. And I constantly fight myself with concern, like, should I be concerned about her? She's not a great person. She's not concerned about her. But you know what? I'm still a little concerned. Same with Amber. If Amber came up tomorrow or today with another, you know, lung issue or another sickness, I mean, yeah, I would be concerned because they're human. I'm human. And I don't want them to be sick. Do I dislike their actions and how they behave? Yes, absolutely. But they're still people, and I don't wish ill on them. And that, I think, is the bigger point. FFG, YouTube Underground, Sam Tefler, they wish them ill. And maybe that's what really just kind of bothers me. Like, all right, talk about them, sure. Dislike their actions, sure. But making fun of them for how they look, for what they eat and how they eat, and laughing at their doom, I just don't like that. I feel like it's too far. And that's just my opinion on it. That's just my opinion. I don't think any of these people are bad people. I think some of their behaviors aren't the best. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on reaction channels in the girl world. Anyway, that's all I got to say.